Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and I hope you're doing well. Well, today's video is not about tutorial or product review or tips and ideas on music production. It's more like what's happening in my studio and what my plans are. So recently, when I say recently, about just over a month ago or so, I've decided to change the workflow of my studio. Previously, I used to have a lot of bands coming in and recording it, so I used a mixer to record the band, not big bands, small bands, and local bands as well, not famous ones, but hopefully they'll be famous one day. So now that things have changed and I'm no longer recording big bands, they're more like singer-songwriters coming in, artists with already music they've produced. They're just coming in, using my studio as a vocal booth and recording and mastering, some other creative ideas that I can input into their production. So I've changed and removed my mixer from in front of me, and I thought I'd utilize some of my other mixing workflow gear. And this is flying faders or motorized faders. This is the Alesis Master Control, which now it's set that I'm going to be using as part of my mixing process, because during mixing you do need those faders, to automate things. Where even though my Tascam Model 12 did have some DAW control, but they're not motorized faders, so recall was not easy, so that had to go back in its box. I don't sell things, but back in its box. So this is one of my old interfaces, as well as motorized faders that I used to use a few years back. And it's a FireWire device. Now, it does support FireWire 800 and 400, so but it's normally connected as the 400 because that's a card I have in my PC that I built. Now, back then, even under Windows 10, it worked without any issues. And now recently I've, reinstalled it and wanted to use it. It does work, but it just, funny enough, it crashes when I shut down, let's say, my DAW. After finishing off the project and end of the day, I need to turn things off. So I shut down my DAW, Windows goes into blue screen. Or any other time, even if I'm not using the DAW and I'm using it as just to play audio through it and listen things, or media playing, the Windows crashes. So obviously in the last couple of years, Windows 10 updates, something must have changed in those updates that's now causing it to crash. Usually you get the blue screen crash when there is incompatible hardware that's connected that causes it, because otherwise I never ever had any crashes or blue screens on my PC that I built about 8 years ago. So the PC is about 8 years old. So of course FireWire has not been supported, at least the 400, since Windows 7. I think that was the last one. And in Windows 10 you can get away with it with the 800, the FireWire 800, faster one, but my card is only 400 card. So after doing some research and doing some search as well on Google and finding out what's causing it or why it's happening, obviously most of the answers are that Windows 10 or Windows 11 don't support FireWire at all. Same with Mac. Mac doesn't support FireWire as well. So a perfectly working hardware, it's just gone redundant. And one way around it is for me to buy a new card that has the FireWire 800 option on there, the chip for it, that may still be supported, but still not 100%. And the cost of buying that card, even the non-brand one, is about $60, $70 Australian. And to get a known brand one is like $140, $150. Now, I don't know if I can justify spending that much money for an old hardware, even though it should really work. So during that research, what I found that FireWire 400 as well as 800 is still supported and maintained in Linux platforms. So I decided maybe that's time I look into trying out Linux. Now, I'm not an expert in Linux, but I have used Linux for a while. Matter of fact, my home PC that I use day to day to do my emails, my accountings and business runnings and everything is actually running Linux. And it's been running Linux for, for the past year. And I use Linux Mint distribution. So I decided, what the heck? Maybe I'll give that a try. So today I've got just an SSD card, which I don't use, plugged it in my PC, and got the USB boot up possible for the Linux Mint, the latest edition, the Cinnamon, I think 22. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm actually gonna install Linux on my PC and give it a try to see if the FireWire device, which is my LSS master control, will work without crashing. It shouldn't, according to what I've read online. If it does, now, should I move to Linux for audio production? I mean, there are pretty good choices there. Natively, I can run Reaper, I can run Waveform, I can run Harrison Mixbus, Bitwig, and few others that run natively on Linux platforms. And I'm sure there's few others there as well. If there are any other good ones, other than the ones I mentioned, use the comment section below, let me know. I might give them a try as well. But for the past 8 years, I've been using Studio One, and I'm very fluent into it. But I'm quite happy to go towards maybe Reaper or Harrison Mixbus. You know, I did purchase Harrison Mixbus version 10 recently for $15 US, which was advertised, not the pro version, just the standard version Mixbus, to give it a try. And I even got a 15% discount. So I only paid about $13.50 for Harrison Mixbus version 10, the standard edition. So maybe give that a try. Because a lot of the time I don't deal with much MIDI. I don't deal much with loop and EDM recording. Most of my production is, live instruments that I record. And that's what Harrison Mixbus, easy to work with. I know the MIDI is not as bad, not the best, but at the same time, I could also go and get Reaper for $60. I think it's well worth its money. It's got, a lot of options. And the only drawback going to Linux as my platform for audio production is the lack of available plugins. Most of the plugins are for, Windows and Mac. There's very few Linux native ones, the LV2s. There are ways where you can use VST3s in Linux, so I'm going to give that a try. But some of them do have issues, whether the graphical user interface or GUI don't show, so you got to do manually, or they don't just work at all. They might crash your DAW. So those are the things I need to look and test. So guys, let me know, have you guys tried Linux as your platform for music production? And what do you think? What sort of thing I should look at? I mean, I've done quite a bit of research on the interface side of things. So the interface is built in the kernel. So any class compliant device will work pretty much straight away. You don't even need drivers as such. And very similar to, Mac platform, if not better, latency wise, compatibility wise, reliability wise, to what I've read and what I've seen performance wise, they just work in Linux. And I mean, you can use ELSA as a driver. You can use the old jacks or FireWire as your interface, which allows you to combine multiple interfaces, like you can do aggregate in Mac platform. And you can do a whole lot of things on Linux. So I'm going to give that a try. Now, the next question you might ask, if you know a little bit about Linux, why am I not installing Ubuntu Studio, which has everything pre-configured for, multimedia production, including video, audio, and so on? Well, I did give that a try, the Ubuntu Studio, but I think it's just got too many programs pre-installed, and I feel it's a bit cluttered. Plus, I don't really like the interface of Ubuntu, where things are at and how it looks. I like the simplicity of Mint Cinnamon. I'm very familiar with that because that's what I've been using day to day as well. So that's what I'm trying to install, Linux Mint. And then everything else that I need, I can, download and install all the drivers and everything else, the patches and modules that I need to run my audio production, because that's what I really want to do. So let me know, guys, in the comment section, your experiences in music production on Linux, what tips and ideas you might have that I can try. But hopefully in the next video, I will show you how far I've gone and what sort of experiences I had, good, the bad, and the ugly ones, if there are any, and report on that. And we'll see if this is something that I'd be able to pull it off and move completely to Linux. Now, Windows has been my main platform for many years. I do think that if I really want to move to the next stage, if Linux doesn't work, is most likely Mac. I've heard quite a good things about the Mac Mini M4 for the price. I think they're about 1,000 Australian dollars. So for music production, I've been reading that they're really well. They run pretty good. That'd be my next step if Linux doesn't work out. But I hope it does, because I really don't want to move to Windows 11. Even Windows 10 has been a pain in the butt. The amount of things that I have to turn off, and background running applications is really, really crazy. But wish me luck. I hope it will work. That's all I wanted to say today. The studio is a mess. I've got gear everywhere. Most of them unplugged as well, because I'm converting. Because what I wanted to do is to use my fader controller. Even though this is also an interface, I just want to use it as surface control, and my interface would be my PreSonus Studio 192 in conjunction with the FocusWire Octo Pre. So that's still going to give me 16 inputs, 16 outputs, plus main speaker outputs. So plenty to actually not even require patch bay. I was pondering that, because I've got enough inputs and outputs now using my audio interface that I don't even need a patch bay. So I'll have to think about that, because everything can just go in. I don't even have to patch anything. Yeah, so hopefully you stick around and subscribe to my channel. That way you can watch the follow-up videos and the progress of my studio, the new setup. Till then, thanks for watching and have a great time making music, and I'll catch you in the next one. Let me install Linux. See you guys.